Everyone is cheering this guy for exposing capitalism, but I think he's missing something huge, and I'm going to do my best to break that down in this video. But first, let's listen to what he had to say.
People will say, capitalism is this great driver of innovation and we live in the best possible world. No, this is lies. Look at the world around us. We live in a miserable world, actually. And capitalism, in fact, limits what we can achieve.
First, I would like to address the elephant in the room. I think the reason why a lot of people don't like capitalism, or the reason why a lot of people have issues with capitalism, is the fact of inequality. If you look around you, you realize that in a typical capitalist society, it's the top 10% of people that have almost all the money. But that's not the consequence of capitalism. It's the consequence of something deeper. Give me a moment, let me explain what I mean. So there's something called the Pareto distribution, or the 80-20 rule. It was named after an Italian economist named Vilfredo Pareto. And he came to this conclusion when he realized that 80% of the land in Italy is owned by 20% of the population. This pattern, where a small number of causes account for a large portion of effect, occurs naturally across multiple domains. Let me give an example. 20% of people on social media get 80% of all the traffic. 20% of musicians sell 80% of the records. 20% of criminals commit 80% of the crimes. This law also governs the population in cities. Just 20% of places have all the people. Like in America, New York has almost all the people, like in terms of the population density. In a place like Nigeria, Lagos has almost all the people. You can even notice this when you're playing Monopoly. When you play Monopoly, you realize that one person ends up with all the money. It's what happens when trade compounds. That's just what happens. One person always, not like it has to be specifically the same person, but a tiny minority of the people involved will always end up with all the outcome. You can also see expressions of this law in the solar system. The sun has all the mass in the solar system. This law also shows itself when it comes to the distribution of money itself. The same law applies. A few people will still end up with all the wealth. The fundamental cause of the income inequality in capitalism is due to this law. It's not really due to the capitalist system. So now, I'm not trying to say that capitalism is perfect. It's really not perfect. There's always room for improvement. But the problem of inequality is not a resultant effect of capitalism. It's more like it's just the way the universe is. Now, I would still pick capitalism over all other economic systems because I think capitalism solves that problem, or it handles the problem of inequality much better than every other economic system. The problem of inequality doesn't magically disappear under socialism or communism. What happens is that the inequality gets more extreme. Under socialism and communism, I think the problem of inequality is much worse because under those economic systems, fewer amount of people get to control everyone else. And you just need to wait till the ruling class becomes evil and you guys are all done for. That's why all humanity's attempts at socialism and communism always ends up somehow in bloodshed, because all it would take for that to happen is for the ruling class to just change their mind.
It limits our capacity for innovation because we only get innovation that is profitable to capital, right? Not innovations that we actually need for improving well-being and ecology. And it limits what we can actually do with our labor.
I think I agree with him to an extent. While it is true that our innovation is being driven by profit, but not all profitable things are inherently useless. Some of these innovations that are driven by profit are very relevant to the society. I understand that capitalism's tendency to promote profitable products has some disadvantages, but it also has a lot of advantages. Think about this. You've ordered something online before and you didn't know the person. You probably have never seen the person before. You just saw the page and you made a purchase and the product came to you in good shape. Now, the only reason why that happens is because whoever is selling that thing really wants to make money. So in as much as the pursuit of profit has a lot of disadvantages, it's also what is keeping our trade secure and making sure that we get what we ask for. Once you eliminate the profit incentive, I think all hell will break loose because there's no self-interest involved. And we all know that people perform better when they have some form of self-interest in a particular cause.
Now, this leads to, as a result, perverse forms of production, right? So capital makes massive investments in producing things that are profitable to capital, things like SUVs and fast fashion and mansions and private jets and the military industrial complex, right? So we get massive production of those things and we get chronic shortages of obviously necessary things, right? Like affordable housing and public transit and renewable energy and so on.
So I think it's fair to add that healthcare is already subsidized by capitalism to a very large extent. I understand a lot of people don't know that because everybody feels that capitalism just ignores healthcare. But if you can do the research, you realize that in most countries, healthcare is already greatly subsidized. Is there room for improvement? Absolutely. We can do better. But I just want to put it out there that capitalism is doing a lot already. It's not like it's doing nothing because we tend to talk about healthcare and capitalism like capitalism is really not doing anything about healthcare.
But at the same time, we have massive deprivation socially. 2 billion people around the world live in food insecurity. I mean, something as basic as food security cannot be supplied by capitalism for everybody.
So now I think this is a fact. I'm not supporting his point, by the way. It's the opposite of what he said. Almost all the cases of poverty in the world right now is due to political reasons. It's really not because there's not enough food. It's really because for some reasons, some people think that they should not distribute it properly. That's just the issue. The problem we have with food right now is distribution, not production. There's enough food to feed everyone on the planet right now. I mean, you could just Google it. Also, on the sideline, I would like to say that capitalism is the system that has been responsible for removing the most people out of poverty. Capitalism is also a major driving force in innovation, and from result, it's by far the most successful economic system. Now I understand that it's not serving everyone equally, and some people are having a bad time, but those same people wouldn't have been better under socialism or communism. The most significant things that we can say about socialism and communism is the fact that they killed a lot of people. Those economic systems ended up killing millions of people for some weird reasons. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And see you guys in the next video. Peace.